I want you to look at it from 3 levels: physically, mentally, spiritually. Okay? So when we are creating peace within us, let's start with mentally / emotionally. We'll put those two together. This is where healing comes into place. All right? Making sure that you resolve those past traumas, release those disappointments and hurts and that negative energy, anything that's grabbing hold and weighing your spirit down. Release those things, free yourself from it, forgive. And that, check out the book Love After Heartbreak. It gives you all the steps to healing. All right. The link will be in the description of the comment section. I'll flash it on the screen as well. Check that out because that will help you with the emotional healing part. Now, creating peace mentally is now considering also what are you pouring into yourself? What are you watching? What are you listening to? All these things have an impact and can pour over into your daily activities, your interactions with men and people in general, and will contribute to how your value is presented and seen. All right, so consider that as well. Now let's go to physical. What are you putting in your body? What are you eating? I'm a big believer in eating for your blood type, but I'm no doctor. So look it up, do your research. You know what I'm saying? I'm also a big believer in plant-based, but the blood type thing will give you some other angles. Either way, look into how you can optimize yourself physically because people don't realize a lot of things that they're putting in their body, that they're eating, is causing inflammation, is contributing to their anxiety, their stress, their depression, all these things, as well as deficiencies. It could be vitamin D deficiency, all these different deficiencies that create problems, all right? And again, impact how you're able to establish value with a man or in general in life. So take an inventory of how you can improve from a physical standpoint. And then, of course, spiritually, praying, talking to God, gaining direction, just feeding your spirit as much as possible. Now, listen, I'm going to be the one to tell you that this doesn't mean you got to be some perfect believer, perfect woman of God. None of us are. Anyone who tells you different, we're not going to get into that. But no one is, all right? No one is. So it's not this, I have to be perfect, but are we making progress? Are we growing? Are we improving in certain areas? Even if we haven't completely mastered it, all right, how can we get better? How can we connect more with God? How can we get more in tune with our spirit? How can we learn to listen to our intuition more? Because I do believe intuition is the extension of the spirit or is the spirit. It's just a different name for it. How do we cultivate those things? Because all of that will create more peace from within and exude a greater value of self. All right, so we got a couple more to go, or a few more to go. Either way, let's continue. The next thing on the list on how a woman can establish her value with men is by not accepting less than you deserve. All right? What undermines, or one of the big things that undermines a woman's value in the eyes of a man is when you tolerate nonsense. And mind you, whether that's tolerate nonsense from another man or tolerate nonsense from that man, because understand that sometimes people are watching, all right? Or people are talking and they're hearing things. And when you accept nonsense, that can get around in some situations. Of course, some of y'all gonna meet someone who has no idea what you had going on with anybody else, but those things can have an impact. So you gotta be mindful of that and understand that you have to stand strong in what you deserve. Now, I want to be clear. When I say what you deserve, listen, let me say this. I've seen some videos where women take issue with the type of restaurant a man takes them to on a date, right? And will say, well, can't take me to some, I don't want to say the restaurant's name, because I ain't trying to make them sound bad. But you can't take me to this type of restaurant. It has to be this fancy restaurant. To me, that doesn't speak to what you, like, to me, we're crossing certain lines. It doesn't mean that you can't want what you want, but how important is that really? when I speak about what you deserve, I'm focusing more on like the intangibles, how he talks to you, how he treats you, how he pours into you, how he shows up for you, how he is dependable to you, uh, um, his loyalty to you. All these things to me speak to him giving you what you deserve. All right. But of course, people are going to have their preferences, they're going to have their desires, and we won't get into that right now. But the point is, at the very least, you don't want to, from those intangibles that I just listed, you don't want to accept less than that. Because the thing is, when you start to accept less than that, it's not only are you undermining your value, but you're essentially saying to this man, this is acceptable, this is okay. And then what can happen is, it's like, okay, to give an analogy, you're a boss, you hired this person at work, and they start coming to work late, and you keep letting that slide. Well, now, a lot of times, it won't just stay at coming to work late, because now they feel like, oh, she gonna let me get away with that? All right, well, now I'm slacking with my work. Now I'm taking longer lunch breaks. Now I'm breaking all kinds of other rules, and it all started with because you did not establish or enforce the rule of you gotta show up to work on time. You see what I'm saying? So when you start to let him slide on certain bad behaviors, it could then turn into more bad behaviors. And I don't want that for you. So you want to make sure you don't accept those things. Now, that does not mean at the first sight of him falling short that you cut him off and you're done. No, I always say, you just don't see a red flag and run. You see it, you address it. And if it cannot be corrected, let him go. Because sometimes it's a misunderstanding. Sometimes it's a mistake. Sometimes it's just, all right, maybe it was more lackadaisical in his previous relationship. He didn't understand how important this was to you. But now that has been communicated and he's serious about you, he is willing to make the necessary adjustments. So be willing to have those conversations. But once it's been discussed and it's still not being corrected, you cannot tolerate that. It's time to go. Move in the direction and hold on to what your value is and what you truly deserve. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Relationships are the key to a successful life. But there's 5 areas that we have to be mindful of when it comes to relationships. There's relationship with God, relationship with ourselves, relationship with family and friends,